Sam O'Reilly with a Fight Talk podcast. Me and Craig, he's just arrived actually. He's had a bit of a nightmare journey, the boy. Look at his face, look at him. He's
coming in hard and fast like an O'Hara Davies tweet. That's how I party. Fuck Gareth A. Davies, fuck Greater Anglia, and fuck anybody else. I don't really.
We haven't even started yet, mate. Do you want to let us get there?
I'm angry. I get angry when I get delayed. 3 hours one way. And for the guy that told me just to enjoy life and smile on Twitter, fuck you as well.
Does he listen to this, Will?
I don't care.
We'll find out if he does or not, I guess. We are joined by Steve Goodwin, middleweight, Cornish's sexiest man. Look at him.
So he knows.
Middleweight Brad Pauls, how are you, sir?
Very good. Happy to be here.
How weird is it? How weird is it? We know that you're Cornish, but it took you less time to get here than it did for Craig.
He's well happy about that.
I know. I'm just about getting over it. I'm drinking a nice chilled out Pimm's and lemonade. What's that? What you saying? Yeah, shut the fuck up. Pimm's and lemonade. Yeah, man, let's do it. Yeah. Let's have a chat.
No boxing really to talk about. It's been
good Christmas.
It was alright, mate. Put on half a stone. Drunk.
Good.
And drunk. Really.
Brad, what'd you get up to?
Trained. Lost weight. No partying.
Dedication.
We'll get on to
typical boxer.
What about you? What'd you do? Loads of haggis, loads of iron brew.
Yeah. No, I didn't really do much. I actually worked and then just chilled out for a bit. And now just working and chilling out for a bit.
That's what it's about, mate. Family time and all that. But
yes.
Yeah, there's no real boxing to talk about. So we're going to talk about darts. There's been a lot of darts.
People talk about darts. People go to darts and say it's like the best night out. They go mental about darts.
Yeah.
I've never been.
No, I've never been, but it's got to be the Hearn effect, isn't it? That's Barry Hearn. They know how to get the money off these people. They ain't daft, man.
It's hilarious. And when the darts players walk out with their wives, like some fat guy, some fat bald guy, with some smoking hot blonde in his arm.
I should have been a darts player. Don't make him wait. Don't get hurt.
The fatter the better. I think it's actually it's frowned upon if you're quite slim. So no, you're never going to fit in here.
But they used to be able to drink and smoke and swally pints of beer and everything else. Now they are athletes, I guess. Good money in darts though.
Great money. He won 400 grand. That
wow.
Rob Cross that won it. Fair play to him, mate.
First time he's ever entered it. This time last year he wasn't even a professional. How mad is that?
No, I know nothing about darts. And we spent the first 5 minutes of the pod talking about darts. But
that's what happens when you run a natural, authentic, organic podcast.
Oh shit! All right, well let's talk about some boxing. I guess we should start. O'Hara Davies has been in the news over the last couple of weeks. Brad, what are your thoughts on O'Hara Davies? Obviously, he came from Small Hall.
Yeah.
Made his debut on Goodwin's show. I don't know how many shows he fought on at Goodwin's.
Only 1 or 2, I think.
Yeah, a couple, and then he got snatched up. Where do you sit in? First of all, before we talk about exactly what he's done and what where him as a guy, as a fighter, and as a marketer, because that's what he is, isn't it? He's marketed himself quite well.
I think it's a fine line, isn't it? So you got to be controversial, but to an extent, you got to sell yourself. Look at Floyd Mayweather, most paid athlete in the world, and it makes you appreciate how good he done it, because he didn't overstep it too much. But then, for O'Hara's sake, you can see he wants to make more money, and he'll do whatever it takes to do it. But then, is he being ill-managed? Is he being too controversial? Does he need to have people help him out before he tweets? But yeah, you can't knock him. I've met him in person, and he just seems like a normal, nice guy.
Yeah.
So, is it really him that's behind the tweets and that's this bad of a person, or does he not understand, or what's the real problem?
Do you know what? I've defended him a lot, and because I like to think about where he came from, how little money he probably grew up with and stuff. And we know Josh Taylor fight earned him over 100 grand. All right, he got outclassed by a better boxer. I don't think anyone in the world, whether you're his best mate, can say otherwise. He was outclassed by a better boxer. That's cool. But he earned more money in that fight than a lot of guys are going to earn in a couple of years in the sport. So if he can find a way to make himself liked or disliked, but someone is still putting money in his pocket, it's hard to discount someone like that. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to go against them.
I think, and I wrote a piece about it as well, where I kind of stated a couple of different points. And one of the main things for me is you have to work out yourself how dispensable or indispensable you are. If you have titles like Brad mentioned Mayweather. Now Mayweather didn't start his career out being that brash and that outspoken.
No.
He didn't start out doing all that stuff. He'd done it when he'd become one of the top 5 pay-per-view stars in the world. He'd done it when he started breaking records for revenue. Then he could say what he wanted, because if you're selling £300 million worth of television revenue or whatever, you can do whatever you want.
The man owned Vegas.
You're indispensable.
Vegas shut down when he fought.
if you get knocked out and you quit because of a nose injury or whatever else, I'm not wanting to throw about the word quitter, but O'Hara Davis's biggest fight, he got beat. He got battered and he got beat. He's got no real belts of any substance. He won a WBA belt in a nothing fight against Tom Farrell, who, God bless him, was overmatched. But he's dispensable, man. If you overstep the line and you go too far, and you're of his stature right now in boxing, you get cut.
Yeah.
You'll get cut because you don't mean enough. It doesn't matter. So I put the blame on the manager. I know we had this conversation, me and you spoke about it as well. You said Eddie might have some responsibility or whatever else. Yeah. See, for me, Eddie's role is a promoter. Eddie's role is to make money for his fighters, for himself, ultimately for the company. He's trying to make money for the company. He doesn't really... I'm not saying he doesn't care about his fighters, but he doesn't have a vested interest in how they conduct themselves personally too much. But the manager has to be there. Now, when your manager is the star...
Are we saying it's Tony Sims?
No, his manager's Charlie Sims.
Charlie Sims, sorry, yes, Charlie Sims.
So your manager's a boy from Towie on reality TV. I don't really know what his substance is in boxing. I don't know if he's a British board registered manager, because you have to have a licence in some other form for 3 years. So I'd be interested to see how he spent those 3 years.
Yeah.
I've never heard anything from him. And this isn't the first time O'Hara had a go at Robbie Davis Jr. after his dad passed away. He had a go at Paddy Barnes and Paddy Barnes' new wife.
Yeah,
it's not the first time.
Yeah.
And how... I've never heard Charlie Sims come out and say, you know, we're going to talk to him, or we're going to get him on some training for social media. I've heard nothing about it. So I think it's partly his fault, and I think there's only so much you can say without facing some sort of action. But I don't think it's only his fault.
What do you think, Brad? You're a manager. Is Steve Goodwin manager?
Yeah.
Craig makes a point, because the promoter is there to make money, essentially, whereas you'd like to believe your manager cares personally about you and your development.
You'd like to think so.
So why is he not in his ear and saying, maybe calm it down?
How much control can they have before he sends out a tweet and it's going to be 2 seconds this day and age, everything at your fingertips, and he's obviously not thought about what he's done, boom, and he's done it just like that. But then what can the manager do? He wants him to be controversial to make him more money, but then it's that fine line.
Yeah.
So
there has to be some sort of education around.
I do want to talk specifically about that tweet. I know it's sensitive for a lot of people, and I know, you know, it brings up a lot of feelings that you just can't equate to anything else unless you've been through it. But the only query I have about the tweet he sent out, it was to a guy from Hull. Yes or no? It was, Tommy Coyle is from Hull. He's not from Liverpool. So when he mentioned the Sun newspaper, which I wouldn't read the fucking thing, but it's irrelevant. I don't personally see it as a complete dig, referring to Hillsborough and stuff.
Yeah.
And again, if you've been involved in that and it's personal to you and emotional to you, I get the first thing you will do is you'll put it to that.
Yeah.
But I just don't know that when he's talking to someone from Hull about the Sun, because it was for a different reason he mentioned about. I don't know. It's really hard to get my head around. It's strange that we've gone instantly to think he's talking about Hillsborough.
But that's the connotations of the Sun.
Yeah.
Regardless. And when you're known for already slating people from Liverpool, Derry Matthews, Tom Farrell, the crowd that were in attendance at the press conferences, he's calling them all scum, calling them all minimum wage, calling them all this and all that. And if you drop a quote about the Sun after that, it doesn't matter. You have to be accountable for the connotations of what you say.
True.
So he's built that for himself. And even if he's talking about the Sun, and I know he shared an article that was in the Sun which referenced someone that Tommy Coyle used to train being a drug dealer or a robber or something, so it might have been about that. But when you're known for ripping everybody from Liverpool to shreds, nobody gives a fuck about the article with Tommy Coyle. They immediately jump to that conclusion, and that's just reality, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is a difficult one. It is a really difficult one. I think you're right though, Brady. You have to have that real fine line. You have to be really careful. I don't know.
Depends what approach you want. You can go for the Mayweather approach and be controversial. People pay to see me win, people pay to see me lose, but they still pay. Or you can go for the Ricky Hatton approach, which goes down to your character. Yeah. He's obviously gone for the Mayweather approach, and maybe it's a bit unnatural, or it's not maybe really the way he is, and you can see through it sometimes. But Ricky Hatton, genuine, sold shed loads of tickets, made loads of money. So it's whatever suits you. But me personally, I'd pick the Ricky Hatton approach and keep it.
How do you manage your social media, Brad? Because it's something we talk about a lot. Do people manage their own social media? How do they decide what to tweet, how to do it? Do they hire someone to do it for them? We know Portobello PR quite well. Jordan's a good boy. and he takes on a lot of work for other boxers and handles their social media. What's your view on it?
I think it should be authentic from yourself. And soon I see boxers who get, and I'm not digging them, but who get help come in, and you can see that it's manufactured and doesn't seem genuine. Like, that's not something they would say if you know them, or if you know how they normally used to tweet before they, or whatever they used to do before. Look at the White Rhino.
Yeah.
Right? He just does it all himself, and he shows his character through social media. And without social media, would he be as successful as he is? Probably not.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, if you had someone doing his stuff.
Yeah, I use him as an example a lot because you're right. He had 2,000 followers just over a year ago before he talked, or 18 months ago before he talked himself into a Dillian White fight.
Yeah.
And he's now got nearly 30,000. And you're right, it's all his character.
Yeah.
And he sells out his tickets now every time quick. And he was struggling to sell a few hundred before that.
Yeah.
So
no, you're right. It can be such a positive, as well as it can be a negative, I guess, because...
It can be a negative for a horror.
Yeah, you have to be careful.
It depends on the person as well, doesn't it?
It does.
If you, Dave Ryan, fuck's sake, I've got Ryan on my head. Dave Allen, he's a funny dude, man.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy. Brad, you speak well, you're a funny guy, and you always post
Good looking
sensible
boy as
stuff
well,
on
isn't he?
there.
Isn't he good looking?
Who, Dave?
No. Big Brad, look at Brad.
Alright.
Good looking boy.
Got something to lose now, I'm fucked.
I said to my bud that we're going on this podcast with Brad Pauls. She went, "Oh, is that a boxer?" I went, "Yeah." She said, "Let me see him." I went, "Fuck off."
No chance.
Mr. Steele again.
But it depends who you are. If you are not really that outspoken a person, and if you need that little bit of help, because social media is a vehicle for you to improve your own revenue, right? It's a vehicle for you to improve your own ticket sales, gain an audience, create a character for yourself. If you're a boring bastard, which isn't a bad thing because you might be able to fight, but if you're really dull and boring and you can't really be bothered with it, I don't know if it's a bad thing having someone do it. But I like what Brad said about it being non-authentic.
Yeah.
Because you can watch some people that we know in the small hall scene and you go, I've interviewed him and I couldn't get 3 words out of him, but he's doing giveaways and competitions and all that on social media, and it becomes a bit fake at times.
I personally, I'm on the fence with it because I agree what you... Listen, personalities are personalities. Everyone's different. And there's some guys that you struggle to have a 10-minute conversation with because they're just not that talkative, or they're not... So, it's like when you see guys who just keep posting the same training, and it's weird, do you know what I mean? Because I think you have to use social media. In today's market, the day and age, you have to use social media. But you also have to be quite inventive with it and keep it fresh, because you'll get guys, just did my run. Just not...
Right. So this is my problem that I have. So you got to imagine you're boxing training camp, and you've got to let everyone else know that you're training hard and make it seem interesting.
Yeah.
You do the same stuff every day. So imagine if I went to you and I was like, "Look, can you post me 4 things a week, what you're doing in the bank, and make it interesting?"
He just put wads of cash in his hands.
Eventually, it's going to get a little bit boring and a little bit tedious. So, but it's up to you to be creative, and there's an act to it. There's a way to use it. There's a when to post, how often to post the same stuff, all this stuff, and you're not trained on it. You've got to figure it out yourself.
What do you think people want from your so from your social media? I know you got a lot of people who follow you quite, and even since you were coming on here, a lot of people liked our page and they shared the status and stuff.
Yeah.
What do your people like to hear from you? Do you get any feedback on that?
I get the regulars who they'll be listening to this and they'll watch every single interview, and then the bulk of the masses, they like action, power. They want the videos of you sparring, they want the videos hitting the bag, the pads, something they can show their friends. Go, look at this guy, he's rapid, or whatever. So, but you got to give all the content. You got to sell yourself as a whole, as a person, and what you can do. Yeah,
it is difficult. It is difficult because the truth is, I go through my Instagram and it can be boring. Like it's your life, and you're doing 6, 10 times a week, whether you're to put. It's like, how many times do I have to watch it? And you're right. It's keeping it interesting for the consumer, because it's what we are. It can't be easy, but it's definitely when used correctly. Social media is a powerful thing, and it's a great thing for lads, and brings in sponsors, brings in money. I especially like you do your fight announcements, like you know what I mean. I like that. Not that many people do it. They wait for it to be the promoters push it out, and you're just a name,
or you just use a poster.
It's
more personal. It's more
I like that.
Interactive.
And again, each to their own. However they feel they can get social media to work for them in today's climate, because it's a powerful thing. Do you think we'll ever reach a time where promoters become less important because people can self-promote through social media? No. Because you see free agents now. So what would you think?
And I don't know what the answer is, but why do you think no?
My personal opinion, no, just because of personalities. Like, how can you have a boxer who isn't the most talkative? Like, I've done interviews with guys where as soon as the camera comes on, or when it's sort of a time to be a bit more professional, they're not great at it. You know, it's out of their norm, their comfort zone. So then asking them to be your own wingman, be your own promoter. Not everyone's going to be a David Hay who can.
What I'm saying is not for everyone. I don't mean like everybody loses promoters, right? But I mean, like, do you think you'll see an increase in free agents who can float about because of their social media presence? Dave Allen doesn't need to have a promoter.
I see what you're saying.
Could that be something that becomes more prominent, or is it not?
What do you think, Brad?
I think most boxers are not going to come from a place where they're business savvy.
Yeah.
If you look at the typical boxer, they've come from somewhere like here, typical, and they're not going to have an understanding of the business of the sport. So they'll leave it to someone else and they'll just do the boxing. So some might, and some have the business brain, but most in general don't have the business brain. Because at the end of the day, it's a business. Yeah.
No, it's a good thought. Could it be? But again, we just said how many times we said the word personality. But Dave Allen could do it without a promoter. How many others do we know that could do it without a promoter at the moment? Who could get around and get on any show, and it would be a. I honestly think, O'Hara Davis now, after all of this shit, I think he could probably go with any other promoter.
Yeah.
In the country, any other promoter in the country would pick him up.
If he changes the way he does things and he gets on the straight and narrow a little bit, this could be the best thing that happens to him.
Could be.
Because he can be that guy that turned it round. Everybody loves that. Someone who used to fucking.
And then he can fight. He can fight an Eddie fighter and fuck him up.
It's good. It's a good story, man.
No, it is. It's a good one. I want to move on to the upper echelon of the world. Don't laugh. I'm deadly serious. I want to talk about. I want to talk about a top 10, top 11 fighter in the world. Well known by everyone. He's knocking on that door for world titles now.
Yes, he's travelled the world. He's a road warrior.
Travelled the world. I'm talking about Joe Fournier.
Mykonos's finest, Joe Fournier.
Nightclub owner extraordinaire. Mate, let's sum up what's happened. We spoke about it, obviously, and everyone, I'd imagine, listening to this will know the situation. But what we know of the current situation is Joe Fournier is now ranked 11th in the world at light heavyweight by the WBA. They say he won a fight at short notice around the Christmas period.
Yeah.
For the WBA International. It's not on BoxRec. There's no footage of it. No one seems to know if it happened or not. I don't even know what country it's in.
It was in Dominican Republic.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm doing like air quotes. It was.
Do you know, I went on his Instagram. And
no clips on there.
No clips on there, but he wanted to thank everyone for supporting him to his 8th round knockout, right? Yeah. 8th round knockout. I've seen one article posted, and it said he won in the 2nd round, and I swear on my life that's the truth. I'm not even lying.
I don't know, man. We know. Listen, we know some fucking newspapers can't even spell people's names right, so I don't stress about that.
I don't know. It's a strange situation. We know he's not ranked in the top 20 in this country. He's currently serving a ban for drugs. A drug test failure, so he's not allowed to fight in Europe. What the fuck is happening?
It takes the credibility away from boxing.
Do you think the WBA are the most laughable sanctioning body?
Yeah, they have to be now.
They must be. How many times can this? How was Paul Smith ranked number 5 before his fight for the regular title Super Middle? He hadn't fought in nearly 2 years at the weight,
and he
and he lost that fight. He sneaked him back in at number 5.
How does it? Do you have to pay to get in? How does it work? You pay.
Someone's paying something.
Is that how it works? You pay.
You don't pay for the ranking. But if you want to pay for any of those titles, you would pay a big whack as a sanctioning fee.
Right.
So any international, like Jake Paul won that WBA Intercontinental or something.
It was another WBA title, wasn't it?
So he won that title. He'd have to pay them a whack. The only reason I know that is the IBO world titles. The IBO, which listen. Brad's just shrugged his shoulders, ladies and gents.
Are you saying Chris Eubank is not a world champion? Is that what you're saying?
I don't count it.
Do you know what? I sometimes count it a little bit more, and I've spoken about this before, because it's the only sanctioning body that is based on algorithm. It's not based on votes or people's influence or finances.
They cannot be corrupted.
It's just, it's maths. That's all it is, and some of them will be messed up and a bit fucked up, but at least no one's going, we'll bring him out and stick somebody in.
The proof is Frankie Gavin is fighting for one of their world titles. Frankie Gavin.
But if you fight for one of their titles, you pay them 30 grand sanctioning fee just to fight for the title.
And before you've made a penny?
Yep, that's the IBO.
And they're the 5th Most.
So
What? So the other ones are more?
yeah, must be.
Gotta be.
I retire.
Must be.
I retire.
I can't
Steve
think.
Goodwin. Cough up the dollars.
Yeah. So
unless you fight in Dominican Republic, you'll be alright.
there's probably no tax. There's probably no real boxers. There's probably I don't know the situation on the Dominican Republic boxing board, but starting to believe they're probably not that legit.
I've seen it. Listen, I've seen a lot of Joe Fournier, and one thing I can say is he's an exceptionally talented, well-rounded, skillful fucking club promoter. He's a club promoter. He's not a fucking boxer. I don't know where this weirdness started. Obviously, he's mates with David Hay,
Well, he became mates with Hay because of it. I heard,
and he fought on one of the Hay shows, right? One of the comeback shows.
and then he failed the drug test after that, didn't he? That was his one fight in the country. It was his only fight in Europe. Was on Haymaker 2. And he won, and I believe he failed the drug test subsequently. Listen, he's banned. He's basically banned from fighting. You go on his box rec, it's all over it. After every fight, they can't make it any more clearer. He's banned by whoever until 2020. He's banned. He's fucking banned.
He failed the drugs test after taking a drink from his own club. Fucking rehypnoled himself.
But he's now ranked in the top 12 in the world by the WBA. Now, you said it to me earlier, Brad. So wait, we've got 4 belts, right? We've got the WBC, the WBA, the WBO, and the IBF.
What about the IBO? Does that
Now
count?
IBO, if Craig counts it, because
okay.
he's in love with the owner. Fucking president's his mate. But now you've got regular champions, and you've got super champions, and you've got interim champions, is what the WBA do. And obviously they have all these under titles, the Intercontinental and the fucking International, and they mean fuck all now. They're really, really diluting themselves. They're lucky that they've got WBO super champ George Groves. Otherwise, I wouldn't watch another one of their fights.
WBA.
Yeah, what did I say?
WBO.
WBA super.
See, it's confusing.
It's
There's too many. It's too diluted. It's
It
can't
is.
name them.
Like, what do they actually bring? You know, when you think about it, right? What do they bring to boxing? Because everyone wants to hold a world title. So they go, oh, mate, I won the such and such world title. How many are there really? About 12 or 15. Like, there's a UKBF world title. And ain't James Toney...
WBF, WBU...
There's literally about 10 or 12. So, who decided they were the top 4? How does this even work? Let's us make a sanctioning body and get someone to give us 30 grand to fight for our titles. Where does this stop? Mate, you're right. The politics is fucking becoming a joke.
And they're also all in collusion with one another as well. So when last time I spoke to Ed Levine, who I've not spoke to for a while,
Get on the phone, Ed.
president of the IBO, he told me that when they're making agreements for unification bouts, so in Dongo against Terence Crawford, for example, right? Say Ndongo had the IBO title, but he also had another world title, IBF, WBA, whatever, and Crawford and ones. They'll call that a unification title, but they will never mention the IBO in any publication because the other 4 have got an agreement that they won't mention the IBO. That's literally in their agreement. If someone has an IBO world title and they're fighting a WBA world champion,
Grows Eubank.
Yep. It won't be called a unification. They won't even pay any reference to the IBO at all.
So these 4 don't acknowledge the
That's
IBO.
the fifth.
So they're all in.
They're happy to stay as the top 4.
They're all mates with each
Yeah.
other to try and stop this other one coming anywhere near it. And the IBO don't really care. They don't really give a fuck. They're like, they just keep doing what they're doing. They're doing it for the right reasons. They're trying to make it as honest as it can be. But if that sort of stuff is happening at surface level, what sort of stuff is happening a little bit deeper when you scrape a little bit deeper into the politics, sanction bodies? It's mad.
It's a dirty.
How tough for a casual fan? Well, say an alien comes down and you go, right, so this is boxing. This is the middleweights. He's the champ. Also, he's the champ. He's the champ. He's the champ, and he's a different champ of a different champ.
And him
you're
here,
like,
he failed a drug test, but he's also the champ.
he's still the champ.
He's still the
You know
champ.
what? I'm the champ.
Yeah.
They're both champs, but they're wearing the same belt. But
Yeah.
one's a super champ.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah, it's, unbelievable, mate.
It's
Unbelievable.
ridiculous. But WBA, Joe Fournier.
I don't blame the geezer. Like, I really don't blame him. Honestly, like, I tweeted the other day. He's making the most. The geezer's on a drugs ban. He's got loads of money and isn't a great boxer. And he's ranked top 12 in the world.
And he pumped Nicole Scherzinger. Do you know that?
Did he? Fuck.
Do you know that?
He's
Did
my
he?
idol now. Do you know what?
Hold on. I'm going to find this.
No, I'm not
Talk
having
amongst
this.
yourselves while I find this Nicole Scherzinger story.
If he's done that,
Hold on.
I'm
So I'm going to do what he's done. I'm going to be 50-0 in Cornwall.
How many millions you got in the bank though?
None.
Yeah, you got to have a couple of mil to be able to pay these people.
Don't worry, I'll stick him in, mate. It's only numbers on a screen.
That's
Right, hold on. Joe Fournier parties in the Bahamas after romp with Nicole Scherzinger. Silence on boozy beach romp. Joe Fournier and Nicole Scherzinger.
There you go.
This is why I got into boxing.
Come
For
on.
this is why I'm here.
Funnily enough, she's just been announced the WBA Intercontinental. But yeah, man, Joe Fournier.
What a guy.
Funny that Ismail Salas doesn't train Joe Fournier, isn't it? Because he's part
Who
of that
does
camp.
train Joe Fournier?
I don't know. Dizzy Rascal. He goes out
Dizzy
partying with
Rascal.
Dizzy Rascal, doesn't he? So
Yeah. Nah, very, 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 very odd situation.
the
That
IBA are a joke right now.
the IBA.
See, it's confusing.
It is
that.
confusing.
Dyslexia kicking in.
Yeah.
WBA.
The IBA. Yeah, no, mate, they got to sort this shit out. Unbelievable. The next thing on the list is what you've written, Gareth A. Davis. You're deeply offended by Gareth A. Davis with his long hair and his pocket watch and his fucking silk hankies hanging out.
Let me tell you right now, two of those things I'm not offended by: silk hankies and pocket watches. I fucking love them both. So
He's all in.
I'm not offended by Gareth A. Davis. Everybody was talking about it. It was buzzing about social media. I don't know if you've seen it, Brad. The 2 tweets that he put out. So for anybody that never caught those 2 tweets, Sam, did you know? What
You
tweets were?
showed them to me.
I showed them to you. So the first one was a weird, sort of like a begging tweet. Like we know, like I say journalists, we know writers, for example, who would do that to like small hall guys. Like, hi there, please can you send me a message? I want to ask you about an interview or something like that. And they do that. They just like do a blanket approach to 100 boxers. And you look at your timeline and you go, oh, they're never going to get back to you, mate, because you've got 5 followers. So Gareth A. Davis did this mad tweet to Conor McGregor, like, hey Conor McGregor, how about you give me an interview because it's what the fans want and they are calling for it. Why don't we set something up? Like, Conor McGregor gives a fuck. He doesn't care. Then he did one for Anthony Joshua, which was
He was
really
a bit
weird.
rude. He was quite rude to Joshua.
Hey champ, the fans, I've had an overwhelming wave of messages from the fans demanding you give more interviews. How about you set up a lunch for the media in the first week of February? It's like, what is this guy talking about?
I reckon he was pissed up, mate.
It was 1:15 in the morning. It was 1:15 in
He
the morning.
had to be pissed up, mate. He must have been still on that Christmas booze that he had left over.
And then one of the MMA fighters commented on something, and he commented underneath. The MMA fighter said, Paul Felder said, thanks Gareth, appreciate it, under a message he wrote or something. And Gareth A. Davis wrote under it, not enough to follow me back. It's like, why are you doing that?
I know. You know, it brings up the question, and I've thought about this. Obviously, you have to start somewhere. He's different. He writes for the Telegraph.
No, you're doing it. I get that more than anybody. We get that more than anybody.
But when do you become entitled to get interviews with people? Do you know what I mean? Like, what about you, Brad? Did you look at? Let's be honest. Fight Talk's not even 2 years old yet. I've seen so many platforms come up since we started. It's it's the trendy thing at the minute. If people want to get involved in boxing for whatever reasons, whether it's their own ego or they
website's
like the
only
sport.
9 months old, by the way.
The website's 9 months old. All right. But yeah. So, what about yourself? If you get reached, if you get a tweet or people reach out to you, do you look at the work they've done or to do an interview, for example, or do you
just anything to get me content? At this level what I'm at, anything to get you content. Beggars can't be choosers. I'm not fighting for world titles or anything like that. So anything I can get. To be fair, I don't get too much attention. I get the Cornish papers
and
you
the
guys.
ladies.
You did a fantastic piece with Chimo, the unboxed piece where you were sitting in the ring just having a chat.
Yeah.
And I thought I really enjoyed it, man.
Yeah, chilled.
It was good. It was a really nice setting, nice vibe. But she had only done maybe one other video before that. So if you had looked into that, you'd go, oh, I don't know about that. She'd literally just started the channel and she didn't have many followers or whatever else. It's interesting because I don't know how many people do look into those things. I think if you contact somebody's media representative, if you had one, they maybe would look into it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Well, Dillian White was my first ever interview, so I done all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go on, son.
It was terrible. It was terrible, man. It was an accident, complete accident. But
Luke Blackledge was mine.
Luke Blackledge, what a guy!
Just before he got his head spun round like the Exorcist off Callum Smith.
No, I know what you're saying. You anything that's going to push your face out there. If they've got 10 friends that are watching their content because they're their friend, then they've now seen you.
Got to do everything you can to get yourself seen, get yourself out there. That's it.
Now, obviously, Conor McGregor and Anthony Joshua are the two names that definitely do not have to do that. But I think the thing that annoyed Gareth A. Davis haters so much was the fact that he writes cover stories for Fighters Only and he writes cover stories for the Daily Telegraph, and he's their main sports writer. He goes to Vegas. He has sit-downs with Conor McGregor on BT Sports TV.
Yep.
Why is he fucking begging it on Twitter?
Yeah.
It's just a bit weird. And it isn't. It's entitled, man. It seems kind of entitled, and the whole thing was a bit strange.
Yeah, very strange. We've said it before. There's a lot of platforms that we see sort of. Can I get an interview? Like DM for an interview, or I've sent you a DM. I think it has to become. It has to come from a place where you. I've said this how many times. If you're going to start a platform now, it has to be for the benefit of the fighters and not yourself. I don't think you should be allowed. Not allowed, because boxing is the most accessible sport in the country for me. Honestly, it's unreal. But if you're going to come in and want to interview fighters, it's got to be for the good of the fighter or the promoter, not just for your own ego, which is what a lot of these guys do. And that's clearly what Gareth A. Davis has done, because they could set it up for him. If he really wanted it, BT Sport would have set it up with McGregor or whatever. So
you think it's for ego?
Pure
ego boost.
I think he feels like he deserves it. Yeah, it's weird, and it's interesting when you say that, because just over a year ago I had about 42 followers, man. That's not. I never used Twitter before I started doing any writing for boxing at all, and I had everybody has to start somewhere. So you do sometimes have to start going, "Hi there, would you be interested in an interview?" Whatever. You have to do it because you've got no other way in. Nobody knows who you are. You've got nothing else to do. But when you reach out to those people, what I said to Tom, who writes for us, Tom Humber, good writer, good boy, mad shagger. He's been shagging somebody in a boat.
What do you call it?
A boat shed?
No, fucking hell. What do you call it? It's like a big container, a big
a shipping container.
Shipping container. Yeah, he's a uni boy.
He's been banging somebody in a shipping container. So shout out to you, Tom.
Got to get it in where he can. Leave him alone.
He was asking me just advice about how to stay warm in the container. No, he was asking me advice about reaching out for interviews, because he's doing a lot of work with the small hall boys, but he's trying to get onto the bigger names. And what I said to him was, if you're reaching out to a bigger name and offering them an interview, or trying to request an interview, they don't care why you want to do it. They don't care like what it's going to do for you. You have to make it something that's appealing to them. So if I'm reaching out to somebody and I've got an idea about a story I want to tell somebody, I'll reach out to that person and say, listen, I'd love to get you some more interest in the UK. I'd love to tell where you came from. I'd love to tell your story and all this stuff. Because they have to want to read that and go, this is actually going to do something for me. Or somebody's getting something out there that means something to me. So you have to be a little bit diverse. But too many people aren't. They just do the same stuff over and over and over. So
ask the same questions over and over. How's training? How's camp?
Yeah.
It can be monotonous, can't it? Because this is a part of the reason I don't really tend to go to a lot of press conferences nowadays. Because you go to a press conference and there's 8 platforms lined up for one person. He's just done the press conference, and we're now going to ask him the exact same fucking questions.
No point.
How's camp? Okay, good. Are you looking forward to fighting him? What's his style like? How do you think you can win? Okay, thanks, have a good day.
And he gets fed up and going from one to the other.
Yeah.
It gets worse as it goes
along. Which is why I don't really do it anymore. I prefer to get the boys in, like when I came to your gym. Remember I came down with you and Linus? I like to be in your environment where you're training, you're in your own camp and happy. Each to their own, man, but yeah, I think you have to try and give back.
You have to mix it up a little bit, but I think just entitlement's a funny one.
Next thing we're going to talk about is Amir Khan, because he tweeted that he's got a big announcement coming in the next couple of weeks or 10 days or so.
This week?
Is it this week? You have a theory on what you believe that is? I thought he was going to go into another celebrity show, like celebrity fucking marriage counselling or some shit.
Just from what I've heard bouncing about boxing forums on Facebook and Twitter, I've been led to believe that he could be fighting Adrian Broner, but that could be nonsense. You never know. Both need a fight, both need a win, both big names over in America. Interesting fight for me. I quite like it.
Yeah, what do you think
if it comes off?
Amir Khan, we spoke a little bit off air about him. What do you think of him in his career?
Wasted. Olympic silver at 17 years old. Had the world at his feet, boxed on terrestrial TV, had a massive profile, and has he made the most of it? No, he's probably going to go on British Bake Off.
I love a bit of Bake Off, man.
So I don't know. I feel like he enjoys a celebrity lifestyle too much and has not been loyal to boxing. He doesn't fight often enough, and maybe just takes the fights for the money, like Canelo jumping up weights when he didn't need to, fight people in his natural weight. It's a bit of a waste. It's a bit of a disappointing career, to be honest.
Do you think you could look at it from the other side, that he has fought some really good people? Danny Garcia, obviously
lost.
Lost. Canelo
lost.
Devin Alexander. So he has taken some big fights. Whether they were for the right reasons or not, you know, but he did take the big fights.
I'm not questioning his heart, more his dedication. Do you know what I mean? So he takes the hard fights when they're offered to him, but then he wouldn't box for... How much has he boxed in the last couple of years? How many times?
Canelo's got his only fighting 2 years, isn't it?
Yes.
Exactly. So if he was really dedicated, he would have had a comeback fight and then worked his way back into a good position. But he'll fight the hard people, but dedication to the sport.
His Maidana fight is in my top 3 fights.
That was unreal. That was unreal, but that was about nearly 10 years ago.
Fuck off. 10 years
Look it
ago.
2009?
2010. It went
8 years ago.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's
7. It was the end of 20. Yeah, right.
cracking
So
on a bit, yeah.
7-8 years ago, right? I know what you mean. Is he the same? He's not the same fighter, but does he still have that hunger to get back into those wars? He doesn't need them now, does he? Like
the Kell Brook thing as well does me head in.
I
He was like, win a world title, win a big fight.
Yeah, I think they're as guilty as each other, them two, though.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think I've said 100 times, and all I really have to say about it is when you become more famous and more known in your boxing career for being brutally knocked out time after time than you do for anything you won, I don't know where you go from there. The Maidana fight was tremendous. Who did he win his first world title against? Anybody?
Eastern European.
Kelly, no. Go on.
Katalnik.
Good man.
Katalnik,
Yeah.
Katalnik. Well played. Won that against Katalnik, who was really just a champion waiting to have his belt taken off him. Great fight against Maidana, no doubt. If you take that Maidana fight out of the way, I don't really know what else he's done. I don't really know. Devin Alexander, when you look at the issues Devin Alexander had outside the ring, he had issues with drugs and stuff around about that time, maybe just after that fight, so who knows what was going on there.
Yeah.
Who else has he beat?
Who's the Irish guy? He beat Barrera.
Oh, fuck off.
He did.
He's quite old though, isn't he?
He's
about
65.
Yeah, I was about to say 50. I thought it was 54, but yeah, he was getting on, he was getting on a bit. But
He beat Willie Lemond, who put him on his arse, and he got given the longest count
did he?
in history.
25 seconds or something.
What? Poor Willie Lemond.
Good fight though, Broner.
That's a good fight for me. I think he's got one more crack. If he loses that, or if he gets knocked out, I think it's over.
I don't know if Broner could knock him out.
I reckon he could. Broner used to bang, man.
Yeah.
It lightweight though.
Yeah.
When he stepped up, his power's not really showing.
Mikey mugged him off, didn't he? Mikey Garcia scored him.
Yeah.
I think Khan smashes him.
You think Khan beats Broner?
Easy.
Depends what he's like now.
Yeah.
It depends what version of both of them turn up.
That's true.
Because they're both there.
It's a definition of a crossroads fight.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
It's like see how much they want it.
The big thing for me is I remember when Khan went to Virgil Hunter, and everyone's buzzing because Virgil Hunter was killing it with Andre Ward, who never took a shot. Really, his defence was impeccable, and everyone thought that is exactly what Amir Khan needs: someone who's going to defensively bring him on, because the hand speed's there, the footwork's there, but he just gets caught too much. I've not seen an improvement. I haven't seen an improvement in his defence since he went to Virgil Hunter. So, and then you watch the Canelo fight. The first few rounds, for me, he's winning the first few rounds.
Yeah, he was.
He's peppering Canelo. He's moving out the way. He's not getting hit with no big shots. But then something seems to always click in Khan's head, where the game plan goes out the window. It's like he can't stick to the game plan the whole fight
He's not
anymore.
disciplined enough.
And I don't know whether that's because he thinks he's too big for his boots, or I don't know, man. But I'll watch that fight if it comes off, and I don't know if I'd watch another one. I don't know.
Alright, another one that we think is about to be announced is, it's kind of been going on for a little while, but we think that the Joshua and Parker fight is going to happen next March, April, May time, something like that. Initial thoughts on that one, Brad? How do you think that fight plays out?
I think it's going to be tougher than people think. I think Parker hasn't got good profile, so everyone else is just going to go, yeah, Joshua, because they haven't really looked into Parker too much, and he's not promoted very well. His social media ain't amazing. I know that's not the be all and end all. He's a good fighter, and I think it'll cause Joshua problems, but essentially Joshua's too big, too strong, too skillful.
Craig?
It's an interesting fight. I don't know. For me, I don't know how Joseph Parker will do under pressure and taking those big shots, but I think Joseph Parker's a better boxer than people think, and I think he stands a better chance than people assume. But you would expect that AJ would come through that fight, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think Parker, he's kind of untested. I know what Brad's saying. It could be harder than people think, but we don't really know how good he is. Who has he beat that you would say is? Like, I've said it, I'm blue in the face. I think the weakest division out there at the minute is heavyweights. I think it's a shit division.
Well, they have one similar opponent, don't they? They both fought Carlos Takam.
Yeah, but then if we go by the old adage, styles make fights. I don't know how much you read into one mutual opponent. Do you know what I mean? It's a good fight, and it's another fucking belt that he's going to have. If he wins, obviously. Whoever wins is going to have 3 of the 4, or 4 of the 5 if you include the IBO. Because Joshua's obviously, he's IBO champ, isn't he? So
Yep.
it would just be Deontay with the final target on his back then. I think it's a good fight. I think Joshua will be allowed to have as little mandatory titles as anyone's allowed. I guarantee that. Because Eddie will keep greasing the palms of mandatory challengers. Keep greasing the palms until you can get all the belts on Joshua.
Do you think Deontay Wilder beats him? Because I do.
I don't.
Interesting.
I've gone back and forth with it because obviously how open and wild Deontay is at times, but then he usually does that when he's got his opponent hurt. But I think he's tailor made for a 1-2. I think literally Joshua could just 1-2 his head off all night.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll get out of the way of it.
And think what Deontay Wilder weighs in 15 stone 9, AJ 18 stone 2.
Yeah, but I think Wilder's got a perfect physique, man. In terms of his height,
Yeah,
in terms of the way he
spread quite
it's
nice.
like gay, wasn't it?
No, I was going to say go out with him. Jesus, marry them.
I think the way
He doesn't carry as much muscle, which Joshua
when
can
you look
slow
how
down.
wide, when you look how
fans
wide his
out.
stance is, man. Like his stance is crazy wide, so he's out of danger most of the time. He's feeling you out with that jab. I think it's a really interesting fight. I think he carries more explosive power in one shot than Joshua does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fair assessment, I think.
When you look at what's been done and who they've beaten, how they've done it. And have we ever seen Wilder in trouble?
Yeah, well, let's define trouble, because in that fight where he knocked Spilker out clean, with
Yeah, but he was never rocked though.
no,
Was
but he was losing clearly.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking if
Has
we've
he
seen,
been hurt?
we've seen AJ on hands and knees scrambling to his feet
Yeah, I know what you mean.
against Klitschko, albeit you can't take that away from anybody. But have we ever seen Wilder in that space? Because you don't know how he's going to respond then, do you? It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine Klitschko against Wilder.
It's a good fight.
I think Klitschko just smash him up easy.
I think Ortiz might
Easy.
do him. I think Ortiz might beat him.
That's still happening again, isn't it?
March 3rd.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're allowed to keep failing drug tests, apparently. If you-
March 3rd.
Should we get on it tonight? No, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, you're right. It's starting to feel like that, mate, because crazy time. It's like the Wild West out there. If you can get away with it, there ain't no Icarus happening.
No, you watched that?
Correct.
Icarus on Netflix.
I love a series. Come on.
Nah, it's a documentary film. Unreal, mate.
Oh, go on.
It's about doping and stuff like that. Anyone that's not seen Icarus on Netflix, starts off like a little laughing joke. This guy tries to break anti-doping system when he's doing like an amateur cycling event, and it just goes mental. He finds himself in the biggest doping scandal of all time. People are dying, like in conspiracy
Basically,
theories
the
from
guy
Russia.
that was going to help him dope for a year to try and cheat this race,
Yeah.
turns out has been doing the doping of the Russian athletes.
in the Olympics
In
and
the
stuff like
Olympics.
that.
Mate,
It goes nuts.
unbelievable.
The guy who used to run the system with him in Russia in the Winter Olympics when they all got caught doping, he just mysteriously dies of a heart attack while this guy's filming a documentary. Like it just explodes, man. It's nuts.
Crazy. Yeah, Icarus.
Great film.
What was you talking about?
Amir Khan.
Parker.
A while ago.
No.
Darts.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he was on the Parker Joshua. I think it happens next. I think they're close to doing it, isn't they? It's gonna April time maybe, and it's got to be another stadium, isn't it? They've got to keep doing stadiums now.
Do they do drugs tests on promoters? Because David Higgins is on so much acid, man.
I hope not. I love Cali Sowland.
He's in it.
He's the best.
Have you not read the article where he says it's just because he's got an excited face? He's not
I
actually.
don't read anything where he denies being a big, massive cokehead, because sometimes he retweets the stuff with his face in Narcos.
Bro.
He's
He
a legend.
entertains it, doesn't
Yeah.
He loves it, man.
Is he the best promoter in the country, just for pure comedy value?
he? Yeah, the interviews just go nuts, aren't they?
He's the best.
His mouth's got a mind of its own. He's just doing little dances whilst he's speaking. He licks his lips every 3 minutes.
He's probably just thirsty.
Should we put some acid in Steve Goodwin's cup of tea and see if we can get Steve?
Get a show, it'd be a ringo, wouldn't he? Like that.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Okay, now I think we're out of topics.
No, what I was going to talk about something. I was going to talk about something light heavyweight division right now is
Fournier.
Fournier. Well, we touched on Fournier, but the light heavyweight division is blowing up. I just wanted you boys' opinions on, and anybody else who's listening's opinions on, who's the top dog? What's the fights you want to see in the light heavyweight
Are
division?
we talking Britain or the world?
Like the world. And also I want to touch on Anthony Yard after we've done this surface discussion. So for you, Sam, top light heavyweight in the world right now?
Probably Bivol. Or is that... What's Kovalev campaigning at?
Same.
Yeah?
Just won a WBO belt.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Against Shabransky.
Yeah.
Catch the Shabransky interview on Fight Talk. No, he got knocked out? Okay, don't worry about it.
Oh, dickhead.
You should have read it earlier.
Yeah, I think still Kovalev, man. Like, I know Ward schooled him, and then, well, I say schooled him. It was a split decision. The first one, the second one, it was quite controversial with the low blows and stuff. I still think Kovalev's probably the man to beat in the light heavy division.
Brad?
I agree. Because Ward's gone, Kovalev. But then he's got people close behind it, like Bivol.
Baterbiev as well. Baterbiev's a
Baterbiev.
beast.
These
IBF.
Eastern Europeans, it's ridiculous, isn't they?
All the Russian, they're all Russian.
Icarus.
All three of them.
It makes sense now.
Yeah.
Who's
Right.
tasting those motherfuckers? Yeah, I like Baterbiev, man.
They weren't
Baterbiev's
growing
a
up on
savage.
pasties and fucking scrumpy, were they, son?
Moving to Russia. I see, yeah.
But I think that's a tremendous division. If the World Boxing Super Series is going to do another set, which we know they are,
So you'd go light heavy and what? What would your two weights be?
I'd go light heavy. I'd go Superfly,
Superfly.
because even though the Superflies are dipping in and out of the big fights like Kalyafai, Chocolatito Waz, Shrisake, Rungvisai, all these boys, put them in it where it's best, like a tournament thing. Do you know what I mean? Don't just like dance around and fight. Have a tournament and then there's one winner. But I don't know what weight classes would you have, mate?
Ooh, I'd go heavyweight and welterweight.
Welterweight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you can get them all. The Spence, Furman. I'd have Danny Garcia in there.
Yeah, take that.
Mikey.
Yeah.
Is it a bit big?
It's 147.
He's done them all, hasn't he? What about you? What do you think? First of all, Brad, the concept, the idea of it. Do you like the?
Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. It's amazing. Because once you're in, that's in. There's no backing out of fight. It seems like there's less politics. Like they all agree, then that's it. There's no ducking and diving. You win, you have to fight so and so. You win, you have to fight so and so.
And it's
That's
not
it. I
too
like the
long
structure.
either. It's quite.
Yeah, they put the fights close together. And that's
Yeah.
what I like.
They do one a week. That's how they worked out in the first round. It was every week there was a fight. Unbelievable
Yeah.
how they managed to do it.
Because that was the thing with the Super Six, wasn't it? It dragged
Two
on.
years, 2.5 years, something like that.
And people were pulling out, and you had to wait for someone to come in and do a camp and everything else.
Yeah.
And I like it. I think
I think it's well promoted as well.
it's brilliant.
Yeah.
And we did you go to any of the shows? Did you catch any of the?
Nah, I watched
shows?
them, but
Fucking brilliant, weren't they?
Yeah.
When we went to
Unreal.
Groves Cox,
Groves Cox.
unreal, man. The set up, the lighting and stuff, and it's not even as though it's not as though it's like millions of pounds worth. It's just a simple.
It's just the way it's done. The lights.
really, really
They
good.
have the fighters at each sort of on podiums or whatever. It's like gladiatorial.
yeah.
It's
They've got
unbelievable.
smoke machines.
Yeah,
and the fighters
smoke
standing
machines.
on
But they pick each
the
other, that bit.
Oh, that bit, no, but even at the fights.
No, it's
Oh,
like,
is it?
So when they do the
Cox-
ring walk.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Cox
sick.
came out first, obviously. He stood on his podium,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is one side of the ring. He waits there on like a lit up podium until Groves come out. Then he stands on one of the other sides. And they sort of look at each other. Mate,
Smoke machines come
Smoke
out.
machines come out.
The
Look at
lights
it.
come down. The ring of lights comes down the side of it.
Yes.
It's fucking
17th
brilliant, man.
of February, when Groves and Eubank are standing on them podiums, I'm going to spunk everywhere, mate. It is going to be legit. I'm going to be fucking top off round the head. I'm going to be going for it. West London, everywhere, mate. It's going to be amazing.
What a statement, man. I'm going to be spunking everywhere.
He
So,
better win, though, Grovesy. Fuck, he better win.
tough fight.
Great fight.
Very interesting fight.
Great fight. See, the thing is, we've got a lot of fights coming up. Obviously, we haven't got anything to talk about from last night, but we've got a lot of fights coming up. The Isaac and Cody fight. Are you
London
cold?
town.
Who
London
are you
town.
leaning towards in that one, Brad? What do you think of both guys, to be fair?
I like them both. I haven't met. Well, actually, do you know
Get
what?
off the fence, you.
I've
Fuck's
got
sake.
splinters here. I give it some fucking have. I don't know. I think Akoli.
Do you?
Yeah, I
allowed
don't
to say
know. I
that.
think his style.
Dirty word around here, Coley.
I like it.
No, do you know? I like him, but we're good mates with Isaac.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he's a better boxer, Isaac.
I don't know. I can sense that he's not confident, Isaac Chamberlain. I don't know what it is.
Lawrence is big as well. He's
Yeah.
massive. He's a unit. When you see him standing side by side, like his frame, he's a big boy. I think he gets caught too much though. when he was boxing that journeyman in Sheffield, he's getting caught on the way in all the time. Every time he comes in, he's getting caught with stupid shots.
Isaac called him a slim, fast Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a big boy. He's very big.
He's definitely a lot bigger than Isaac. I don't think he's as good a boxer, but I think he arguably hits a lot harder as well.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how Isaac takes a shot. It'll also be interesting to see how Coley works him out and see if he can work him out. I guess.
10 rounder, obviously. He did
It's
a
not
10.
going 10.
You don't think it's going 10?
Nah, I don't.
See,
think
I
it's
think
going
Isaac
10.
wins on points.
I don't think it's going 10.
I don't know if Isaac will not. We don't know about Coley's chin yet, but I think if you look at the Wadi Camacho fight now, Wadi is a very different animal to Coley, and you know Wadi's a top man. We got pissed up with him just before Christmas
Great guy.
on the Goodwin dude. Lovely bloke, Wadi. I got a lot of time for him. Been in some wars, but Isaac went 10 rounds with him in his 4th or 5th fight with a shoulder hanging out.
Yep.
Yeah.
If he can do that with him, I believe he can go 10 and comfortably go 10 with a Coley and boxing.
That's what I mean. He's got that in the locker, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's done it before, so it'll be interesting to see. But we'll obviously hope to be there. It should be a good night. You go try and get down
Yeah, no, I'll probably just watch it on TV, to be honest.
in
Easy.
camp.
Do you go to many shows? I mean, obviously you're in
The
camp
Goodwin
now.
shows when they're free. Turn up. Oh, I'm a Goodwin fighter. How you doing? Let me in.
Give me my band. Where's Josh at?
I've only been to one other, and that was Tony Bellew versus
Don't say
Edison
clever.
Miranda.
Oh.
Wow, what a random selection.
2000. I met Cougar Cassius just right before they was all famous and that. He just started out. Got a selfie with him, and I was like, 2011 it was.
Why did you choose that show?
I don't know. I can't remember why, but
Where was it? Liverpool.
It was in Ali Pali.
What?
Yeah. And it was
So
like,
were you there for the darts and then they just
I just rocked up and had a fight.
Belly just walked out?
Yeah.
Fucking
It wasn't
hell.
that. It wasn't amazing, to be honest.
Okay, well, why would it be?
Best.
Belly was fighting, wasn't he? Man stole a living, that geezer.
Don't start on this David Hayes shit again.
What's wrong with David?
Yeah, let's do some questions.
Let's do some questions. We're going to start with Brad's questions. There's a lot for Brad. Or is there other questions that aren't Brad related?
Let's jump in with one for Brad. From Jordan, from Knockout London. Fantastic publication, always doing good work, churning out that digital content. Also the first and only interactive boxing book now available, coffee book. 2 articles from yours truly in there, so we'll get your copy of that. £12. I'll sign it if you want, whatever. But no, Jordan.
Commission based, isn't it?
Hustler.
Jordan's asked, Brad, why did you decide to move to Essex? Was your decision motivated by the fact that there's more opportunities in London/Essex for a boxer?
So talk about your childhood first, how you come to boxing and where it leads you to today.
Yeah.
So, started off in Cornwall. 0 opportunity. Probably
Yeah.
the least boxed in the whole country is in Cornwall.
Wow.
And I was there for 8 years. I had 20 odd fights. I was fit all the time. Never got matched. There was no one to fight. That's it. And knowing that, I knew the opportunity was up country. Somehow got into university. Don't know how. Learnt my spellings and done that, right? So I got into uni, got a scholarship at Southampton Solent, and then I went to Golden Ring Boxing Club. And then soon as I got the opportunity, fine. Got a national title, went 13 in a row, 14 in a row unbeaten, like 6 by knockout, and I was like, oh my god, all I needed was just the opportunity. And then did well at uni, got semi-finals, national titles, all this. And then I got to 22, my time at uni was finishing. I was like, right, where do all the best boxers come in the country? Liverpool, Manchester, Essex, London.
So it was as simple as that. There was no doubt that you had to move. Like, as in, we know away fighters, for example, but your ambitions meant in your head you had to move. You had to relocate your
That's
training
it.
camp.
If I really wanted to do it, I would do whatever it takes. Whatever will give me the best opportunity. And I knew the best opportunity is London, it's the Mecca. Essex, went as close as I could. As soon as I said to Steve, look, I'm going to move to Essex, he was like, right, Terry Stewart. And so far, everything's just how it was meant to be, backing up my justifying why I moved here. Like, the opportunities are turning up, you can tell by my next fight. Titles, like, literally approaching. I've got better sponsors and stuff, I think, from being here, which has helped me out massively. If I would have stayed in Cornwall, or even close to Cornwall, you never would have heard me. I would be doing this podcast. I'd be raging.
So this is everybody who's listening to this podcast. You've got London to thank for this. But that's a mad scenario. So what did you study at uni?
Fitness personal training.
Oh God, generic.
Yeah.
Boxers.
I couldn't have done English or maths, so anything to get me in.
I couldn't get near you. They wouldn't. I'd fucking send in an application. They'd throw it straight back at me. So at least you got in, mate. You've done well.
When did you decide? Obviously, you started dipping your toe in the water at an amateur level. When did you decide that this was a career for you? When was that decision made?
I just couldn't imagine not doing it. I've done it since I was 10. and then everything's just evolved around it. Everything else was secondary to boxing always. So it was just
your
like,
family cool with that, you know, because it's a big change, isn't it? Like
yeah,
down in Cornwall where there's no boxing, like you say, and
that's it.
you decide, like, Mum, Dad, this is me. Like, I'm a boxer. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna dedicate everything. Were they straight away like, mate, follow your dreams, do what you got to do, or they like
Fully supportive.
be realistic? You know what I mean? Some people could have tried to hold you back, maybe, and say, look, be real. It's not realistic. Hold yourself.
They just said have a backup plan.
Yeah.
Get
do
a
something.
tractor license or whatever you need.
Yeah,
to do.
professional pasty maker. Do that on the side.
I'm all in.
No, they fully backed me. They supported me, and they obviously it's not ever been done before. None of my family boxes. I'm the only one, and then it was for me to pave my own way, and they just had to trust that I knew what I was doing. And then so far, it seems like it's justified. I can live by myself, I support myself, everything like that, and it seems like everything's justified. So
Are you working as well just now? Or are you?
I work part time, more to keep myself busy. I work with special needs kids, teaching sports, basketball, stuff
Cool.
like this. Yeah.
And what's the? I mean, I guess it's good coming from a place like Cornwall where there's no other professional boxers. Or you told us. No, I don't know if there's any other professionals. There might be.
If anyone knows, let me know. I need to
Yeah.
get these facts when I start
Yeah.
bragging. That.
Someone
I don't
comes out and
know.
go, motherfucker, I've been here for years.
You said on Box Rec earlier on before we started recording that the last show to be held there was 82, 83?
82.
82. So it's
Crazy.
also, even though it's hard for you to establish yourself, it's also a good chance for you to cement yourself as the guy
Yeah.
from Cornwall, innit? You can kind of build something around
There's no
that.
comparison. I'm the
That's
only
it.
one.
Was- Yeah.
I'm paving the way.
You might
I'm
be
like-
dreadful, but they're going to love you
Yeah.
anyway. 'Cause you
They're
know-
no different. They're
Yeah.
no different. I'll get all these weird titles. They'll be like, "Wow, Brad's got the
IBOs.
WL256 title just made up in his bedroom."
He fought Fournier for it. Yeah, no, it's
No,
good.
that's it. That's one of my goals in boxing. Is I want to have a professional boxing match in Cornwall and make history.
What location are you looking at?
I found a nightclub. That's one of my sponsors. I spoke to Steve. The capacity's 800. It needs to be 7.
Okay.
There'd be 4 or 5 fights on the card. It's not going to be glamorous. It's not Hollywood.
Couldn't
But
this
it's
have
I'm
happened?
getting
before-
so pissed that day.
Yeah, but
man.
couldn't this have what I'm asking is, have you not missed the boat now? Because your next fight is a 10-round Diego Burton Southern Area Eliminator.
Yeah.
Can you bring a Southern Area title fight to 700 people nightclub or 800? Do you know what I mean? Maybe this could have happened 2-3 fights ago, maybe.
Yeah, it probably could have been better, but what if I brought a different title there? The money's there.
Yeah.
I personally think I'd sell about 500, 600 tickets for Boxing Nuki.
You said it.
With it being history,
Yeah.
it not being done since '82, it will be quite big in Cornwall. I think I'd do it. The money's there. Like, we know money's everything. It gets you what you want.
Yeah.
That's it. Let's do it.
Nice.
But you've got to have goals, haven't you? Dreams.
100%.
Let's talk about the next fight. So the next fight is on March 10th.
Yes.
Goodwin Promotion show. As we just touched on there, fighting Diego Burton, who's a seasoned professional.
That surprised me. I looked up earlier. He's in 11 pro fights.
Burton. Yeah, he's fought for the Southern Area a couple of times, right?
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
once or
He's fought
twice.
at title level, yeah.
Yeah, he's been around. He's a tough man.
His last fight, he won a 10-round fight where he started quite slow against Justin Menzies and found his way back into the fight and showed that durability and that stamina over 10 rounds and ended up winning the fight. So, massive step up for you. You told us earlier on how many rounds the most you've done?
4.
4 rounds in a fight so far.
Yeah.
Sometimes, well, most of the time because you're stopping people.
Yeah.
What do you think about the distance? 10 rounds. What's your view on it? How are you feeling
It's
about
all
it?
confident. It's all about preparation. And if you put in the work and training, you get what you want. It's not going to be the easiest thing I've ever done. It's my first time. I've only ever prepared for 6 before. But I feel like I'm a better boxer. And then for putting the work, it's not going to be a problem. I trust my coach, Terry Stewart. He'll get me in the best shape possible. And knowing this in the training camp, it's given me that extra little bit of motivation. Like before fighting people that I'm really confident of beating, like this fight, I could lose if I don't turn up 100%. And that extra little bit, it just took me to another level. Like I literally drank once over Christmas, didn't go out New Year's, trained over Christmas. And I'm starting this training camp in the best shape I've ever been in to start a training
At
camp.
the start.
So with that, I know it's going to have to take the best of me, but that's what I'm giving. So
Nice. Well, how much do you know about Diego, or how much have you seen him, or what do you make of his style?
I've watched a couple fights on YouTube, and do you know what, it suits me down to the ground. It gets me so excited. Like I can't even. I love just having a fight.
Yeah.
That's it. That's my style. Like I literally just love someone standing in front of you trading. My dream come true. That's what he does.
You sick bastard.
And you know what, the people love it. I love it if people go, look at that, was so entertaining. It was an absolute war.
Yeah.
My career might not last very long, and my brain cells are
Take a couple of years
decreasing.
off.
But that's just the way I am. I love fights like that. Gatty Ward, stuff like that. I love it. So that's a bit of me. So hopefully.
Yeah, we spoke about it earlier. You're 8-0 now. You've done your learning fights, haven't you? Not obviously you're always learning, but you've done your fights where the guy isn't expected to come and give you a great test. He's there to sort of give you the rounds, and it's more about what you've been working on. But this is like you said, it's a genuine fight where you could lose.
Yeah.
Does it? Obviously, your mindset is different because you've now started camp in tremendous condition before starting. But mentally, does it feel different now?
Feels like I'm having my debut again. It's what it feels like. But I think these fights building up, the way I see it, right? So each time you do a training camp, you get better at doing the training camp. So it's like making a stew, right? You make a stew, right?
Yep.
And you go, right, this time I'm going to add in some carrots, potatoes, whatever else is going in it. And you go, you taste it at the end and you go, that was alright. Right, you got to make a stew again. So this time, I'm going to add a little bit less carrots, more potatoes, salt and pepper, some herbs. Every time.
I'm all in, man. I'm listening.
Do you understand?
Yeah, of course.
So every training camp, you go, right, I'm going to add a bit of this, I'll take away a bit of this, this helps this bit. It's everything. Rest, recovery, how you go about your
Maybe
training.
I overdid the potatoes, hence the pepper didn't come out as good as it should have done.
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
exactly. And at the end, you end up with the best tasting, delicious little stew, which is the product which is due at the end of the training camp.
Nice.
I like it, mate. That's quality.
Fantastic analogy.
There you go.
I'm just fucking hungry
I'm a
now.
chef.
Mrs. O'Reilly, is the food ready? Couple of questions from Martin from the New Age Boxing Podcast. Mate, what a show that was, the live show just before Christmas. I said to him, if they don't make that an annual event,
That was wild, man.
they failed, mate.
They were talking 6 monthly, weren't they?
That was
it'd
superb.
be good. It'd be good.
Superb.
Great night.
First question: if you beat Diego Burton, do you see your area title fight being this year? Now, while we've been recording, I've just had it confirmed that Matt Legg, MH Legg, is fighting under Ozgul for the middleweight Southern Area title on the 9th of March.
Yeah.
So
Very
the day before.
Oh, was it the day before?
Yeah.
9th of March.
Yeah. I'd happily fight either.
Do you reckon it'll be
Either
this
of
year?
those.
Do you reckon it'll be this year? Have you spoke to Steve about
You would
time
hope
frames?
so, right? You would hope
Because-
so.
Yeah, you've got to.
Because it's not a final eliminator, so it's eliminator. So Steve was saying that I win this,
Okay, it's not a
and then it's
final.
up to me to pull the trigger when I want to fight for it.
Okay.
So I don't care. I'll fight anyone. Don't matter.
Who is there in your, obviously Linus Shadofia, your gym mate,
Yeah.
who is there at the weight that you realistically might have to go through to get that Southern Area strap?
There's people like Taylin Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to leave him for Linus, so you.
Seems like they've got a little beef going on. So I don't want to get in between them. I don't mind. I'm not really sure, to be honest. Like, I keep a little eye out on my weight category, but at the end of the day,
Doesn't matter to you.
it
as
don't
much
matter. It's a
as-
fight. Like, that's it. So
So
I'd happily fight. And if Johnny as well, you got to trust my coach. Like, if he goes, look, I think if you just wait and for this and this and business, he does get a big say in it. I'll just say yeah, I'll fight. That's it.
yeah,
So
you need to be steered in the correct direction.
yeah, it's business
Because
at the end of the day.
Yeah,
But I'd happily fight anyone. So it's sweet.
definitely. Second question: for a world title, would you fight Linus?
Ooh.
Good question.
That is
People
the hard
are
question.
dying for us to fight each other.
I mean, you
No,
lot
but-
must spar how many rounds together?
Ridiculous amounts. Ridiculous.
So you
Like,
you lot probably know what the other one's going to do before you. You know what I
Probably a
mean?
really
Yeah.
shit fight.
Yeah, probably.
I've seen this move before like this. Yeah, I don't know. I want to spar for a world title. Yeah, I'll just take a dive in a second and get paid low, put money on it. Get paid loads of money. Linus, put all your money on me.
This is a disclaimer to the board. Brad doesn't usually bet on his own fights. Clearly said in jest. Please disregard the last comment. What level title fight do you think you could win right now? Was Martin's third and final question. Because I'm not going to bring up the fourth question.
But yes,
I have an
Martin.
answer
Yeah.
for it.
Yes, Martin. We always do.
Yeah.
Always. If you're there, you may as well have a go with it.
I think at this moment, with my experience, Southern Area,
Yeah, you believe
I believe
under
I've-
Ozgul and MH Leg are fighting the day before you believe you could beat either of them.
Yes, 100%.
English level is Elliot Matthews.
I need a bit more experience, and then yes,
Okay,
being
Nice.
realistic.
good. Like the realism.
Nice. Tell us a little bit about you and Linus. So, obviously, everybody knows you guys are very good friends, if not best mates. Obviously, in the gym. spend a lot of time together
Linus
in the
calls him a
gym.
prick all the time, though.
He does. Linus says a lot of things. On the last podcast, he said he was going to try and bang my missus.
He did, actually, yeah.
At the end of the
Well, you were going
podcast.
to New York, so... Someone had to
Disappointing.
keep her warm.
Yeah, it was weird. I found an LU hat in my fucking house when I got back. But tell us a little bit about our relationship. Did that just start from meeting in Terry's gym, or what's the situation?
We actually got matched up as amateurs.
Oh.
This close to fighting each other, and then I think it was the end of the season or something. For some reason, it didn't happen. Like always does as amateurs, always get pulled through. But and then like I recognised his name. 'Cause I remember my coach talking about him, and then as soon as I went to the gym with Terry, that's it. Like we're similar age, similar level. Both got the same goals. That's it. And in the gym, it's like competitive.
Yeah.
Like if I'm slack, I'll get punished for it with sparring. If he's slack, it's exactly the same. And it's just what you need. Like
Brings you on.
and do you know what it is as well? We're right the opposite from each other. Right?
What, in terms of your style? Or
Yeah. Skin colour. No. no. Like Linus is slippery, slick, switch hitting, head movement, like counter punching. Me, a little bit of that, but I'm more
You like a fight.
Exactly, I like a fight. And then I take bits away from Linus and he go, right, try this. And we do everything to try and help each other. Like, he's had a fight and then he'd be like, right, I found if you do this, like this, or any aspect of boxing, so the social media we talk about, anything that will help each other. And it's good to have someone like that in the gym.
It's
do
almost
exactly the same with you.
It's almost as though you'd make the perfect little mixed race stew. You know what I mean? You'd have the same.
Be ridiculous.
Yeah,
That'd be champion of the world.
But no, someone said to me years and years ago, if you want to be the best 100 metres runner, you always train with someone that's better than you. Because you're always trying to catch up with that person, you're always trying to progress with that person and be the best you can be. So obviously you guys are, I think, two of, if not the two best prospects in the stable at the moment. The Goodwin stable for me and Sam, we spoke about it a lot as well.
Thank you.
So it's good. It's very interesting to see you both at the same weight.
It's good. It's
training alongside each other as well, but
Yeah.
having that competitive edge, it's going to be a massive couple of years for you both. How do you feel about? That's a question from me. So I've went on record various times and said that you are, for me, one of the best talkers.
Yeah.
Not on TV, boxing wise, right? So small hall or just before TV level of boxing. How do you handle that aspect of it? Is that something you try and focus on when you're doing interviews? Do you, because you're quite a funny guy, you speak well, you're very intelligent. People who watch your interviews, you generate a lot of views and a lot of interest.
Later if you want.
Pay him in booze.
But is that something that you've recognised makes the difference or takes you to that next level, or is that just natural from you?
I've took it in my stride. I understand that it's necessary. It's very necessary. Like, and when I was at uni, they did help me with interviews and stuff like that to get me prepared. And you're a product at the end of the day, and you've got to sell yourself. So you've got to come across and you've got to make people believe what you believe if they're really going to back you. So you've got to do it, and it has to be done with boxing because it's more than just fighting in the ring. It's the whole package. So knowing that, I do everything I can for all the gym stuff, but then you've got to keep an eye on everything else as well. How you come across. You don't want to come across too negative. You want to make people feel good. You want to, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to sell yourself.
You're
in the
trying
right
to get
way.
them to part with their money.
Yes.
It's a weird way of saying it, isn't it? But
Yeah.
it's what it is. You want them to part with their money for you, but you need to be able to give them something back rather than just be a generic man standing there with a pair of gloves on. It's a really weird one.
Yeah.
It is a really weird
It's a really
one.
interesting dynamic because the way I look at things generally with regards to developing personalities through interviews and all that sort of stuff is you want to be, if I was you or the way you come across to me is that funny, really personable guy that you, if you went, do you want a ticket for my fight? You go, fuck, he's a good laugh.
Yeah.
He's a good boy, I'd buy a fucking ticket and it'll be a good night. And that's exactly what you need if you want to go down that route. But then we spoke earlier on about the O'Hara Davis route, which is a totally opposite route.
Yeah.
Where you go, who's he fighting against? Fuck it, I'll buy one from that guy. Yeah, I'll buy one. I'll buy a ticket from his opponent. So it's one of those two things. But I think you've got that really nice balance, man. And when it comes to bigger shows, bigger titles and stuff, at least you know you have that. You don't need to work on that.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff is the stuff you can't tweak in the gym. It's natural, it's not natural.
There'll be a time where you're sitting there, you're doing your press conferences for your English title fight or your British title fight, and you may have made it onto Sky or whatever. And there'll be a time, people may not know you. You'll do an interview with IFL or whoever, and you're prepared. You've done the groundwork. I think you're in a good place for it. Definitely.
Because if you fake it too much, then it becomes transparent. People will eventually find out. If it's too fake and too forced, people will see it. and then they're not going to trust you, not going to want to support you if you're not a genuine sort of person.
Well, they talk to you in the bar afterwards and they go, he seems really different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not the same guy.
It's
just
easy to come
online.
on social media. It's easy to fake it and come across a certain way.
Yeah.
It's easy to manipulate people. So you've got to
Definitely.
keep it genuine as possible.
Definitely.
We're coming to the end. Couple more questions for us, I think.
Yes.
Who are they from?
Rob Martin. Shout out Rob Martin, the mayor of Brixton.
He's going to get himself killed if he ain't careful.
His Twitter is
I
fucking
love
mental.
Rob Martin, but he needs to chill out because
He's calling somebody. What was he calling somebody last night? He was going fucking mental.
he goes
He
mental.
was going mental at some bird, calling her a slant nosed cunt. And all that.
He's a hero.
Psycho, man.
He's amazing.
He's a great geezer. Just lives down the road from me, actually.
Brixton tattooed on his forehead,
He's
basically.
brilliant. He's brilliant. He always asks a few questions. Asked a few questions for us, really. He said, one interview. One interview, if you could choose someone to interview, basically, who would it be? Dead or alive, in the past, in history and boxing, who would it be? So I posted. People are going fucking mad about
Yeah,
this.
because you said they'll get a Fight Talk cap, and I'm sitting there thinking I ain't paying the fucking postage, mate.
I don't wear mine, it's shite. No, but nobody got it. So, who would yours be, Sam? As a video-based interviewer, who would yours be?
Is it too predictable for me to say David Hay?
Yes, you can.
I'd go Marvin Hagler.
Marvin Hagler.
You know why? Because growing up, my dad had a bulldog, and his name was Hagler.
Okay.
I didn't know what it meant. Like it was like, and then you sort of look at him, and then you look at you want to understand why, and then you look at the fights and the Hearns and the era with Sugar Ray, and I just think he was a savage, man. He was a pure savage. So I think it'd be a good interview back then when he was at the top of his game. You know, when he wore the press conference and he wore the hat that just said war on it.
Yeah.
He had that kind of savage personality.
Dark mentality.
Yeah, he was quite dark with it, so I like that shit. So yeah, I'd like to have interviewed Hagler.
Brad, any people in boxing that you would like to have had a chance to speak to or would have enjoyed getting to know a little bit from history?
I'd say Golovkin.
Yeah?
So just like his style. I want to know his
Big
secrets.
drama show.
Yeah.
Big drama
I like
show.
you. Do you like me? I wouldn't take the piss out of him, but I'd like to just give him some pointers.
I don't think he listens. You'll be alright, mate. Yeah, nice, Golovkin. So I said mine would be a South African.
He wasn't South African.
A South American. I fucked it already. Yeah, South American. People said Gatti. People said Duran. People said Carlos Monzon. Throwing all these mad names in. Good middleweight, him, Brad. Old Monzon. The one I said was, or the one I was going to say, was Edwin Valero, who I don't know if anybody knows Edwin Valero. I know a couple of people would. Tom Humber got it right eventually. You don't get the hat because you write for the site, you lazy bastard. But yeah, Edwin Valero, who was a Venezuelan, who just before turning pro had a serious motorbike accident, had to get a surgery on his brain to remove a blood clot. So then couldn't get licensed anywhere in America, anywhere in Europe. Had to travel all the shitholes of the world trying to get fights and establish himself. So went to Bolivia for fights, Japan for fights, South Asia, all these places trying to get fights. Ended up being a 2-weight world champion. 27 wins by knockout and no defeats. Only person to have every one of their wins by knockout and win a WBC title since the WBC's inception 30 years ago. Am I boring anybody yet? I must be boring some people.
I nodded off, I ain't gonna lie.
If you nodded off, I'm going to wake you up right now. He fucking killed his wife, alright? He killed his wife and then he hung himself.
Yeah, but you didn't answer this. At what point in that mental journey would you want to have interviewed?
So I'd want to interview him. When they went like that, listen, you've messed up there, mate, you've killed your wife. Don't roll up the bed sheets. Because
Craig Scott's got a question for you.
don't use any sharp objects because fight talking in the house. I would have moonwalked into that Venezuelan prison and handled that business. But fascinating story for me. I think the mental side of the game is really underrated, and it'd be interesting to hear a little bit about what's going on in his old Napa at that time. Obviously been through a lot. Johnny Tapia was another one that Rob Tebbett mentioned to me. Tapia's book, for anyone, you read Tapia's book? Anybody? Wow, fucking hell, mental. Got married. The night he got married, ditched his wife that night, went to a crack house, was pronounced medically dead for 4 or 5 minutes, woke up and his wife never even knew he had a drug problem. Mental, fucking mental. What a fighter. Yeah, South Americans are mad. Mexicans, South
Some
Americans,
stories
brilliant.
there, boy.
But yeah, Edwin Valero. For me, madness, absolute madness. I sounded a bit like a talking Wikipedia there, didn't I?
A little bit. Where is the Wikipedia? On your phone?
If anybody goes on Wikipedia,
just reading off it.
you will not find the same words on there. But nah, Valero for me. Rob Martin also asked, "What's your goals for the next year?" Fight Talk. What's your goals, mate?
I'm trying to get to as many shows as I can. I went to every Goodwin show last year. Won't be doing that this year. It's too much dilution. Too many fights on the same night.
Let's talk about that because that's a bit weird.
Yeah, I think there's too many.
20.
No, not even.
No,
not even
not
fights.
Goodwin.
Cards.
Oh,
Cards.
okay. Right, I was gonna, yeah.
Listen, there is
Third of March?
7 fight nights that I know of on the 3rd of March in England.
That's madness.
It's fucking crazy, man.
What do you prioritise that on? So why did you pick that one over the others?
Well, last year when it happened, I went to Goodwin because we had our advertising on the ring. We had the fight talk, so I said, look, I'm going to go to Goodwin every single show. This year, I'm going to kind of do it with guys that I have better relationships with.
Not Goodwin. Fuck hell.
No, I'm not talking about the show. I'm talking about the 3rd of March with our good friend Richie Gray.
Yes.
Shout out Richie, you fucking lunatic. Stop sending me weird WhatsApps.
He's a mad character.
But
Fighting for his first
he's
belt.
fighting for his first belt, challenge belt, and top man. Got a lot of time for him, so I'll definitely be there for that one. Well, obviously, listen, we're going to hope to have someone at Goodwin as well on the same night, whether it's James or Tom or you're off in Prague gallivanting around doing whatever you do.
Museums and shit.
Yeah, museums and tourist
I'm there
shit.
for a stag. I'll be in a few museums and that.
But yeah, I think for us personally, we have to try and represent the small halls because obviously there's a Kell Brook fight the same night, but I want us to be filling out the small halls. There's a British Warriors show the same night, so I want Fight Talk to be at the small hall shows that night. That's got to be the plan.
Like that.
That Matt MH Leg shows at the same night, is it not? Or is that the
That's
week
the
after?
9th of March.
Well, some Bournemouth boys are fighting in Camden on the 3rd of March as well. So
Do you know what I mean?
yeah, it's a mad one. I don't know why they do that, but I kind of counteract that and say, is that a good thing for fans that live more locally to those shows? Because we moan about it when it happens with 3 London shows because we can't be in 3 places at the same time. But if there's 2 shows, one in Bristol, one in Aberdeen, one in... Don't go to one in Aberdeen, it'd be shite. But it might be good to bring in local fans for local fighters instead of asking all of Brad's fans to travel up to London from...
Maybe, but you also have to have a decent standard of show. You can't just call it a pro boxing show and then put any Tom, Dick or Harry out there because I've seen
You
some
can't
shit.
fucking Mickey Haley does it every couple of weeks. Fucking hell.
Poor Mickey.
Yeah.
I've been to some poor shows, man. I've been to some poor shows and there were still people at them. Would they go again? Probably not. So do you turn them off that promoter's shows or do you turn some of these casuals off boxing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you put some shit out there, you can quick go, I don't like boxing. I went to 2 shows, they were fucking awful.
That's true.
So it's got to be a happy medium, mate. That's the way I think. But
That's true.
should we wrap up? Done. I'm starving, man. Mrs. O's got chicken ready, you know.
Okolie Chamberlain.
Okolie
Chamberlain. Rob Martin says, are you wearing your Fight Talk t-shirts to Okolie Chamberlain or will he be wearing his on his own?
Mate, I wear my Fight Talk t-shirts everywhere I go.
I try and dress a bit
Everywhere
nicer.
I go.
Where's mine?
Everywhere I go.
Where's my Fight
You get one for being there today?
Do I?
No.
Excellent.
Of course you do. Brad, you get a special one. You get a special
don't
one.
wear-
I'll sign the sleeve for you.
Cheers.
Whenever I
Sell that.
whenever I go to a show, if Brad Pauls is on the show, I try and dress a bit nicer because I know there'll be birds floating about. Do you know what I mean? Shout out to my bird. Shout out to my bird all day. She doesn't listen. She doesn't give a fuck.
Everywhere I go, repping fight. I had a box of 50 tees. If I walk to the shop, I got a Fight Talk tee on. If I walk upstairs, I got a Fight Talk tee on. If I'm going to boxing where my fucking audience are, Craig, I've got a Fight Talk tee on. Do you know what I mean?
I don't have to. People know me anyway. That's the thing.
Yeah, Macklemore.
Rob Martin will obviously be wearing his. And Sam will be wearing his.
Yes, always.
Yeah, are we done?
Let's get out of here. There is so much boxing coming up. We're going to have so much to talk about in the future weeks. It's been great having Brad Pauls here.
Pleasure.
What a guy. Didn't bring Scrumpy, a little bit disappointed, I won't lie, but he's in camp, so we'll let him off.
Understanding like that.
March the 11th, he will be back.
March
and
10th, mate. Fucking hell.
I'm talking about March the 11th, he'll be back with the Scrumpy in hand after so full of himself, he thought he knew the lot, the cunt, didn't he?
My bad.
Celebrations on March 11th.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah,
see?
pasty, cider.
Jeez.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
Yeah, before we finish, do we have any people to shout out or talk to?
Everyone, man. Everyone who represents Fight Talk.
All the
who reads
Robs,
our
all the
stuff.
Pauls, all the boys on there. Fight Guru all day.
Editing King all day.
Editing King
for
all
life.
day. Brooke Streetfield, lovely lady, doing some good work. Who else? All the Fight Talk boys.
Brad Pauls,
Always.
Linus Udofia,
who is probably balls deep right now.
all the Hammersmith, all Barry O'Connell's boys.
Always state of mind fitness every day.
Everyone, mate. Everyone.
That's it. That's it. Shout out Gareth A. Davis. If you want lunch, I will cook you one of Brad Pauls' famous stews. You fucking-
Wait, final thing. Make sure you get a Bradford tickets. Real talk. There's gonna be it's gonna be a show.
That's a
very
hell of a
good
fight.
show.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a fight.
We'll
And
go
if
for war.
you're someone who listens to us, I imagine you like your small hall shit. Get down and watch Brad Paul Diego Burt.
10th of March, I'll be there with some Pims. Let's fucking party.
Yeah, boy, see you there.